It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. I've got in with me this week Tepoe Nash.
Hey.
Now, you go by Tepoe.
That's my middle name, yeah.
Okay, well, I wanted to make sure on that because I had seen something where your name was a little bit different somewhere else.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you just stuck with Tepoe, so.
No, a lot of times when I'm talking to people, they think that's a nickname, and, I use it for music because, it's a little different, but when you're trying to, make connections with people, I use my first name, but.
Well, you want something in the music business. You want something that's going to get attention. I think that certainly stands out. A lot better than just John.
Well, I don't know. But it's
there's plenty of Johns in the music industry, so, there's nothing wrong with that. But I didn't know if it was an actual name or, because it's a unique spelling, Tepoe.
Yeah.
So I was just curious if that was your actual name or.
Yeah, I was named after a dream my dad had, so it's kind of weird, yeah.
Oh.
But I had a kind of tough childhood growing up, though, you know how people poke fun at.
So you kind of went the route of boy named Sue.
Yeah, sort of.
Kind of. Of course, you didn't have the whole falling out with your dad, the big fight and everything. For those of you who don't know what we're referencing, really, go spend some time on YouTube. Look up Johnny Cash, one of the great songs. That's the only homage that I'm going to give to it. But we're going to talk tonight about your music and the music that you've been making. You've been in the Cookeville scene for quite a while.
Yeah, a long time, yeah.
How long thereabouts would you guess?
I've practically lived here all my life. It's just, as far as music, I've been kind of in and out, doing a lot of recording, and putting stuff out on the internet and playing. I played, a lot in Nashville there for several years and kind of took a break on that for a while. And now I'm recording again and putting, some music out. I've been having, some pretty good success on the internet with it, playing. And I want to thank you for having me here. Today,
oh, well, we're glad to have you in. And the music that you're making, you do all the parts for.
Yeah.
You do the guitar, the drums,
bass,
all of it.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love doing that. I love recording. It's sort of like a stress release, A lot of the songs I wrote, are about like life experiences.
So, and you said you've performed different places. So
Yeah, I've had, I've been in a lot of bands, several rock bands when I was growing up, and a couple of them were, actually considered, by major labels, but we just couldn't keep the, group together. So sometimes that's hard,
Sometimes a band is just a whole bunch of egos hanging out together, and it doesn't always work out that well.
Yeah.
So sadly, it's happened to a lot of bands.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite movies is The Wonders.
Yeah.
With Tom Hanks.
That's a great movie. Yeah.
That pretty much,
Yeah.
You get a little bit of success and that happens.
Yeah.
So. But you've been plugging away. You've never given up. You still keep making music.
No, I stopped. Music's in my blood, so I always do it. I was kind of born into music. My dad played music, and my uncles, and it was sort of, something that I was just around when I was younger. And it's just something that I'm constantly thinking about, doing something in music. So.
Well, we've got a few of your tracks that we've been playing because you have your own CD put out, and you're working on a new one. We're going to talk a little bit later in the show about the new material that you've been working on, some of your older material. We'll get into a look at some of your songs.
Okay.
And how about if we go ahead and start them off? We'll just play one of yours to kind of get them familiar with your music. How about if we do The Nightlife?
That'd be great, yeah. That's actually written about me looking at Cookeville when I was younger. It's kind of written when we were going to, head to Cruise the Strip, we called it.
Cruise the Strip.
Yeah,
I don't think I've heard that term in a while. I don't even know if they still do that, do they?
I don't know either, but we did when we were younger, so it's...
All right, well, it's the nightlife of Cookeville.
Yeah.
It's Tepoe Nash on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. We've got Tepoe Nash in with us, and we've already talked about one of your songs, played one of those. And you've been in the Cookeville area for quite some time, and you said you've had a lot of near hits. I don't call them near misses because to me a near miss is if you nearly missed you hit something. So
I've actually shared the stage with some great people. I've got I've played with a couple people on the road right now. One signed with Sony, and we've got to open up for some pretty good people, pretty big name people, and that's just one of those things that just didn't pan out in the groups I was in. And I've, as far as like acoustic music, I do some of that too. And I've shared the stage in Nashville with, some really good musicians. And
well, you can handle all the instruments that you laid down. So what's your instrument of choice? Which one do you prefer to be hands-on with?
Well, I've probably got two. Guitar and drums are my favorite, probably. I love guitar. And I got a patent on a guitar, and that I sell. It's at computerizedguitar.com. So people would check it's like a teaching guitar. But yeah, I love guitar. That's the first instrument I got was guitar when I was 5. But my dad was trying to, it was like school. You do this, and at the time, you know how you are when you're young, you're rebellious. And
I know everything. You know nothing.
Yeah, and I kind of Dad couldn't play drums, so I took to the drums because I love beating on things. So I played drums for years, in a band, and sung lead and played drums, and had a great time doing that too. But
now, is that tricky? You see, you've got like Phil Collins.
Yeah.
He'll get behind the drums and sing, and you've got a few other ones like who I want to go with here.
Well, Don Henley did.
Yeah, Don Henley.
Yeah.
There's another one. That's a great drummer, great singer. Is that tricky?
Yeah, it is, and it was. I mean, I think you can do probably better on drums if you're just focusing on playing. But when I was singing lead, the only time I could do some real good fills is like during the lead solo, and a lot of times that would cause conflict with the lead guitarist. So, but it was really fun. But I love, just all the instruments, bass, keyboards.
Which one was the hardest to pick up?
I think the hardest probably to pick up was guitar, when I was trying to, do my lead and get that. And I'm still working on it. I'm trying to get better.
I think any instrument, as long as you just really, you got to stay at it, though. You can't just take it for granted that you know how to play it and leave it at that. I got tickled the other day. I was online seeing Twitter, and what is it, Zach Wilde?
Yeah. Former
guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne. He's got Black Label. He's out doing his thing.
I know.
He put up a picture on Twitter running scales, just running some scales.
Yeah.
So you got to keep practicing. You got to keep at it. So that's what you do. You keep working and crafting and trying to put things together. So I'm going to guess that factors into how you're writing your music too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll take a look at your songwriting process and we'll talk about some new tracks that you've been working on.
Okay. That sounds great.
And we'll come back and do that as we continue with the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. I have with me in studio tonight, Tepoe Nash.
Hey.
Tepoe, just kind of hanging out, and we've been talking about making music, how you got into it. You just kind of picked it up. You've gone from instrument to instrument and laying it down. You've been making your own music for a while now.
Yeah.
You've done the whole band thing, and it's really just not worked in your favor, so you just decided to go ahead and stick with the solo stuff.
Yeah, that's mainly the reason. That's how this album came about. Actually, I thought, man, today you've got these recorders where you can do all that. Years ago it was a lot harder, but now, you can lay a track down and then lay another one and then, paste them together. So you've got, it's easier. So,
yeah, you got a lot of software that comes in your favor.
Yeah, Pro Tools. Of course, this CD wasn't recorded on Pro Tools. It was recorded on just an 8-track digital recorder. Yeah,
now you're working on a new one. You've got a CD together. It's called, you just referenced, The Great Spin Golly.
Yeah.
They can find that online?
Yes, it's on iTunes. They can Google me. I've got it on iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon, Google. I'm on all the major music networks. It's for sale on there, but iTunes is the most prominent. And on my website, too, I've got all the links to that, some videos. And
give them the address for the website.
It's t-poe.com.
t-poe.com.
Yeah.
That's where you can find him online there.
Yeah.
And that links up, has all the stuff on it. So
it's got the iTunes
get a hold of
links.
that. Now, you've got The Great Spin Golly.
Yes.
And you're working on some new material now.
Yeah,
and,
I've got.
How many songs you got together for the new material?
Well, actually, I've got 5 that I'm working on. Is the new rock material, and of course, I want to do more, but that's something. It takes a while to do because when you're doing all the instruments and trying to put everything together, it's.
Well, you can tell you get excited about it.
Yeah.
You start to talk about it and talking about your experiences and how you've been doing in music and stuff, and you can tell you've certainly got the passion for it. So that comes through in your songs. We talked briefly about some of them. You've got 5 new ones that you've been working on. You got ideas. Where do your ideas come from?
Well, actually, I usually start out with like a riff, or sometimes they just come to me. It's like I've wrote one song in my sleep. I woke up and it's playing in my head. So I got up and laid it down on guitar, and the whole song wrote itself more or less in like 5 minutes. So, some of my songs are like that, and some I'll have a riff and I'll, maybe put an idea with it and then kind of build from there. And then sometimes a melody will just come and I'll start singing a part and then I'll put a riff to that. So, I'm trying to work on that too, my songwriting, because it's, like the Nashville songwriters, it's more of like a craft, how they do. So,
Well, it goes back to you're constantly working. We discussed you're constantly trying to keep up on your instruments and learn those. So you're adding the other element of songwriting. And again, that's an important element. So
yeah. And it's awesome too. The technology today, it's like the internet, been getting a lot of airplay. I appreciate, you guys, airing it here. I've been getting a lot of airplay over a lot, on internet radio, and it goes all over the world. You hear people from Sweden and Thailand and everywhere chiming in on your songs, and it's really exciting, to think that somebody's on the other side of the world.
And there's one simple place they can start out. They can go find you at Tepoe.com, as we said, T-Poe.com. Well, I do appreciate you coming in to talk to us about your music. I want to ask you about the title of The Great Spingolly.
Yeah.
What inspired that title? Where did that come from?
Actually, it was inspired about a TV show about this magician that hypnotized people. I thought it was really wild how, people can get hypnotized that way. And that's actually how the song came. I had this, it was sort of like I had the riff, had the riff for the song, and I got to thinking about that TV show. And then the lyrics just came out, and I thought, well, that's pretty weird. So I decided that, title the CD, The Great Spingolly.
We're going to share the Great Spingolly with everybody. This is Tepoe Nash on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Sitting down this week, I have in studio Tepoe Nash, and we've been discussing your songwriting, what you've been doing as far as putting music together, and you've been in the area here. What you said, you've lived in Cookeville all your life, but you've been a part of the music scene, and it's changed.
Oh yeah, man!
In Cookeville really over the last however many blah 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 years.
Yeah.
I won't totally give you. I was talking with one of my DJ friends, and he says he can remember running lights for you at one of your shows.
Oh man, yeah. He said,
so many years ago.
Oh, yeah, it was years and years ago, and he said that our show was the first show that he kind of emceed, and he introduced us before the curtains opened, and
he's like, Tepoe Nash going to be on the show. I said, yes, he will be on
awesome
there.
Guy.
So So you've seen it change over the years, and would you say the changes have been good or bad?
A little bit of both, really. I mean, I there's a lot of things that I really like, and some things I don't. It's just one of those things where, I'm talking about the music in general, the whole of everything. A lot of it's great that we've got so many tools, but sometimes the tools can hinder you too. That's like the Pro Tools. They got that what's called a tune, that auto tune feature. And that's I was in the studio in Nashville, and I was doing a track, and this girl was in before me, and she told the producer, she said, now you make sure you run that auto tune. I want my vocals to sound perfect. It's one of those things where, it's great to have all these tools that you can do things, but kind of takes the talent out of.
It's a crutch.
Yeah.
It becomes a crutch.
I hate to say that, but it is what it is,
Instead of just being good old songwriting like it used to be. It's
used to, you had your Strat and your Marshall or your Flying V and your Marshall, and whatever came out of it, that's what you got, but nowadays, there's so many computer things that you can just twitch, you can make your voice sound like a guitar.
Yeah, we've come a long way, but at the same time, it's kind of set us back a lot.
Right, yeah. But it's awesome,
it is a mixed bag. But as far as the local scene.
Oh, the local scene's
the
great,
bands
man. There's so much talent here, it's unreal. It is unreal.
Would you say reception is better now as far as people accepting local music as opposed to?
I think so. I think so. I really do. I think as far as that aspect of music, I think it's getting a lot better. It's just, I think there's a lot more focus on this area too than there used to be. Back when we were some of the older bands I was in, if you played rock, you were like the outcast, but now rock is more accepted in this area. Being from Nashville, I think that kind of hurt us a little bit back then.
Not as widespread as it is now. Right. You have a lot more like the Black Keys, Jack White, that are really prominent on the scene, and they're in Nashville.
Yeah,
so
I think Nashville's more, more accepting to rock now than it used to be. I remember doing shows down there, and they'd say, who are you and what do you play? And once you told them, it was like, but it was awesome, seeing back.
Well, I do appreciate you coming in to talk to us about your music. Before we go, I just want to say thank you again, Tepoe. I appreciate you coming in and talking to us tonight, and it's been a blast getting to know you, a little bit more about your music. People can find you online, Tepoe.com, T-Poe.com, and it's got links up to Facebook and things. So thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I want to say thanks to you, and thanks to all you guys out there listening. without you, we wouldn't even be here. So, it's just awesome to be here and, to be a part of your show, Greg. Thanks.
And we appreciate that, Tepoe. This has been the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. You can find out more about how to be on this show at rock937online.com.